My name is Paula Rowe, and this is Global Unified Breathing, and welcome to today's show. The name of the show is I Am as God Created Me. And if you recognize that at all, it means that possibly at one time, or you still are, studying the Course of Miracles. When I first started my breathwork journey, I became a student of the course. I stayed with it for about 5 years, but my favorite lesson was lesson 94. I am as God created me. And at that time, the types of traumas that were coming up in my series of breathwork sessions, this was something that really helped me to stay grounded and have a goal that no matter what, I was clearing things out of my body, and I was moving back towards that original I am as God created me. And there just seemed like there were so many things that got in the way of me being that original love and light. And a lot of things, almost supernatural, almost extremely traumatic. And I remember about 6 years ago sitting down and writing every single time in my life that I could recall having gone into post traumatic stress disorder. And at 25 on the list, I stopped because I figured that obviously, because breath work came into my life, if it wasn't for something that was going to be the power wash inside me to clear out all these residual effects, the way my cells were just absorbing trauma after trauma, and also keep in mind that I was aware that I was clearing ancestral. I was doing it for everyone. I had had a dream already about standing in front of the whole line of my entire lineage and saying, and I was about this big in the dream, and everybody else was really tall, but I was saying to, I don't know who it was, but I'll do it, I'll do it. And so I remember I had to keep that in mind quite a bit. So, for a quick moment, I am as God created me, lesson 94. And today, just to have a little bit of an idea of what this is about, in breath work, what we're trying to do is to assist you in clearing out those patterns that are stuck, have been stuck, that are traumatic events for the most part, or just belief systems that do not honor and serve you in the soul's evolution, but also the human, because we're meant to evolve into and onto a journey that brings us closer to the self-realization of who and what we really are. And this is my idea of what kind of transpired and is transpiring ongoing. So, breath work became that technique for me. I had already been in therapy for quite a few years. I also stuck with it during still doing breath work because of the fact I felt it can't hurt. And the more things that I could do to gain wisdom about what was going on inside, because I realized it was inside me at some point. It wasn't just the outer world, it was what I did with it inside, how I used these events, these belief systems. And the way that things are in our world today, it's really a good idea to have a a general idea of discernment and what is your desired outcome. And I kind of have always really had that. discernment is something that I've been talking about with all my clients for quite a few years, because it's a spiritual navigation in the mind field. And I used to have a really good friend, and well, she is still a friend, but at that time she used to say the battlefield is right here. And she was always trying to win the battle. And till we realize it isn't really a battle, it's a judgment that it could be a battle. But sometimes, from the soul's perspective, it's all information to evolve out of and beyond. And the beauty of that is that it really is easy. And so with breath work, things start to come up because they get activated by the breath. And lately, especially in this window, I don't know, think about the 11/11 portal that just happened. We did an event that evening, and it was quite profound of the energy that was happening, but also that I was aware that it was manifestation energy, and that if you can ask yourself every morning when you wake up, what is my desired outcome? And you don't have to always ask for the day. How about just being present to the present moment, or within this next hour? What is my desired outcome? And sticking with that brings you into consciousness, the conscious awareness of where is my breath in all of this? Where is my breath? Am I aware that I'm even breathing? Because remember, breath is life force. And on our breath, as I've said in other shows, this is the frequency of source light energy direct from within that direct energy of the God force. And when you start to realize that with breath work, it's quite incredible, especially when you've had a few sessions and you move into being breathed by God. Everything seems to change. And then the journey shifts, and the holiness of all of it starts to take over. And I remember I used to breathe in ice water, which I've been doing for a long, long time. And I still do. I did last night. So I used to have a picture in the beginning years of Babaji sitting right on my chest when I would be breathing. And during the very first time that I don't know why I did that, but the book was opened up, Course of Miracles, on my altar. I laid down there and I started breathing. I pulled Babaji's picture off the altar, laid it on my chest, and the lesson 94, I am as God created me. And what started to happen is I realized I was inside my body, but I was a particle of light floating in the universe inside my body. And the expansion that happened in that moment was me seeing that I'm everything. I am everything. And all the walls in the room just kind of fell away. And I was really aware that I was conscious. I wasn't, like where I had to come back and I was remembering what had happened. I was conscious of this experience, and it was quite beautiful. But I was also seeing that I am as God created me. God has created me in that moment as a universal speck of light. And from there, it was expansion, 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 till I realized I was floating in a sea that was inside my own body in the multiverses, though. I mean, it was almost like some people would say it was like a psychedelic trip. And it really kind of was. But what it did for me later on is when I looked at lesson 94, it made me realize that this statement, which makes all forms of what they say about lesson 94 is it makes all forms of temptation powerless. The one's thought that renders the ego silent, entirely undone, has no power over, is you are as God created you. So in every given moment, you are as God created you. You are never out of alignment with that. And I love the fact that it tells us the ego is rendered powerless, silent. So in that powerlessness moment of silence, you are as God created you. And if we can remember that this is a way how the world almost disappears, and all thoughts that this world ever held are wiped out forever by the one idea. And this is a salvation accomplished through this one. Here, sanity is restored. I am as God created me. You are as God created you. Whatever you consider that to be, but I'll say now, it is love abounding. It is a love that in our humanness we have never known, but Discovery 101 is always what I talk about. Keep going, keep moving through, keep healing, keep releasing. Hence, breath work. Breath work helped me to remove those thoughts and belief systems more and more and more. And I'm not saying that I'm clear and clean, but I'm saying that I'm aware of the power wash, the spiritual cleansing and power washing from the inside out that happens with breath work. It's quite powerful, and it also renders the ego powerless, silent. And this became a goal for me at that time, is that the more that I could feel and stay conscious of when this would happen to me, is my level of discernment was also being birthed into new ways to really know what was true and what wasn't, what parts of me were true. Because, there's so much built inside of us that isn't the real truth. It's grabbing at things to try to identify ourselves in reflection to the outer world, but it's so unnecessary. But, I was on my list of PTSD in my life, and number 25 said, you better keep going forward. And that was only 6 years ago that I made that list. And the reason that I did that is because I realized that nothing is really required of us. We don't have to do anything. But there's something bigger than all of us that's going on in the outer world that we're participating in with our consciousness. So where I place my energy and my thought systems is really important that I stay conscious to that, because it really is that participation is needed. It's not required, but I would rather be the one with the direction of the aspect of myself to be able to participate in my own evolution back home, the way home. And so breath work became the number one tool in my toolbox to have a level of discernment in being able to go home, the way home. Navigation, discernment is definitely important. So about 9 years ago, I wrote an article. It was called, oh my gosh, I just flashed on Advanced Reconnaissance. And this idea it kind of blew me away. But at that time, I don't know where my ideas come from. Sometimes I tapping into universal mind, I don't know. But advanced reconnaissance. So reconnaissance is a way of navigating a path and navigating the pathway in advance about how, when you meet parts of yourself as you heal, and I hope you're on a healing journey, that you know what to do with the information, and how to process it, because in the times that we're living right now, right behind that is another thing that's going to be brought up. And we don't want to, by default, let the energy navigate itself. So advanced reconnaissance says that the soul, this is the soul that directs the advanced reconnaissance, because its ultimate journey is to reunite with Prime Creator, that love that we only can envision, that I hope that we'll know very soon, levels of love beyond anything that we've ever experienced, which also is helping us to get there, is advanced reconnaissance, um, discernment, and divine neutrality. But also, let's add to our toolbox divine forgiveness. These are kind of all the components of my toolbox over all of my years of breath work, is that because of the severity of some of the trauma that I had endured, discernment was really important, to not get stuck on any one thing, and to also be able to discern, why was this happening? The human can get stuck on a spiritual minefield, and one right after another popping up. And things are going to happen that are going to open up pathways within the mind that we didn't know. And especially if you're utilizing breath work, correct? If you're utilizing breath work as a way of leveling up and finding your way and navigating, then you know that the trigger in the outer world can trigger everything that it is supposed to, whether we like it or not. Level of thinking that it's always going to be pretty and pink doesn't really exist in a reality that we've decided to be in right now. And make yourself very clear that you have decided to participate with breath work in your own evolution. So with the I am as God created me, we're trying to reach a part of ourselves that is still in the purity and the grace of God, which is inside there. That is why when I was breathing that day, I hit that pool that was universal, that was liquid, that was light, that was encompassing all universes, but it was inside my own body that I was floating and seeing this. And what I got out of that is that everything is happening right inside of me, and that if I so choose, I can look outside. But when I look outside, remember, it's only a reflection. And so if I don't like the reflection, I can change my thoughts, my energy, my belief systems. I can change how I view that. And so if we have tools of divine forgiveness, divine neutrality, a high level of discernment, that right there, placing something I don't like onto a table with all of those tools, really helps me to expand. And right now, it is about expansion. It is about trying to be brave enough and have the courage to go inside and to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep navigating your own path home, whatever that looks like to you. I know I know what it's like. I know that many times I thought to myself, it really can't be happening this way. But breath work is really a divine component, my breath, that is still connected and still receives on every inhale God light. Me just becoming aware of that, just sensing and knowing without a doubt that my inhale comes from source. What do I want to do with that? Hence the path of advanced reconnaissance. Where do I want to navigate with this? So envision yourself on a starship inside yourself, navigating through your own body. Now, remember what I was talking about a couple months ago is the heart. In order for our heart to be fully opened again, because our heart did shut down, this was what happened to us, and we forgot God's love. And we're hoping to regain this in the body. But in order to regain the awareness and the feeling and the sense and the expansiveness and the excitement and the joy and the consciousness of God's love, we need to be aware of God has always been in there. It's about all those things that came about with the judgment around the cells. Remember, breath work breaks up the cement around the cellular structure within the body. Breath work is trying to free you from having these hidden pockets of energy where you can't even catch your breath. Take a breath on that. Breathe deeply on that one, because it's a beautiful thing when the light inside you is so bright, but the darkness inside you has obscured. The light has never left, but the darkness has obscured the light. It hides the light. It cresses the light. So as you're learning about yourself and you're owning, remember, full responsibility, 100%. When we're owning all that, more light breaks through, more light expands. Nothing can hide from the light. So what happens, it's almost like a starburst inside, is how I saw the universe inside me when I was breathing. And these bursts of starburst with all these particles were dissolving off of these cells is what was happening, because I was breathing and I was breathing, and I could see where I was becoming lighter and lighter and lighter. And I really would love for every one of you to experience the God source light within inside your body, because then you can also reflect it out. And in the outer world that you start seeing, no matter what, is all God. No matter what. And I know sometimes it's really difficult for us to be in agreement with that, but we don't have to. We can just allow. How about just allowing it to be? Do your own healing. Do your own breath work. Do your own bringing as much light as possible. There are many tools, but I'm here today speaking about the power of the breath through the light of God that never fails, that has consistently shown me to keep moving on, keep going forward, shine that light, be that light, speak that light, feel that light, offer that light. And when that happens, something amazing comes about. The outer world changes, because the reflection changes. So the beauty of it is that we have all these tools, and we need to, whether we're doing it because we want to learn about ourselves and we've been on this path. I mean, I continue to breathe no matter what, no matter what. That's just the way it is. I couldn't stop if I wanted to. And what I'm meaning is doing breath work. I breathe in hot water and cold water consecutively, consistently, because I love advanced breathing, and I love breathing in water, and I love the breath, because there rides on the waves of your breath. In the moisture of your body is the sacred holiness of the entire universe, of the God source. I know you can have this experience. Perseverance and discernment and navigating, continuing to go through this brought me into this realization years ago. And it was in awe. I was in awe over what was happening. And then, of course, what starts to come about is expansion, where you start to feel like your body is expanding. And this suit, the human suit, can drop away at times. And then you really know that this is for you. This is for you. This world is for you. You came here with a direct mission, with a direct contract, possibly. I know for myself that as I continued to grow through breath work, I got very clear and had full memory of my lifetime before this one, so that I was aware of what I was supposed to be doing. And I was like, no, I don't think so. But, sometimes we just kind of get on the path, and we have to keep going no matter what. So from this week to next week, beloveds and dear hearts, and bless you on every breath, remember this week with every inhale you take. Just sit and think about that. I know we didn't breathe today, but I really wanted to share that you are as God created you. Try to reach that place inside yourself. And every time we say, I am as God created me, the ego is rendered powerless and silent. And in that silence, that meditative state, there is the freeing, the sovereignty of feeling that sense that I come from God. I have nothing to fear. And when I looked at that list of 25 post-traumatic stress disorder events in my life, I thought, I don't know why I'm still afraid of certain things, because they really got onto a deep level. But I continue to breathe through them, and I know that I am sovereign regardless, which is really a beautiful thing to know that, regardless of how my body is reacting. Having done and continue to do, many blessings to all of you, and I love you. And I hope you continue on the path and breathe. I will breathe in water today. Yes. Remember, and I hope that, dear heart, that you know about, you're not just, I'm talking about breathing where we use a snorkel and we're submerged completely in the water, breathing underwater. So, for me, it's kind of natural. I can breathe. Yes, we all can breathe. Using our breath to heal ourselves is really important. It is the soul's journey, and we're assisting the soul so we can evolve in this world and play our part and find our families. Thank you for joining me, sisters and brothers. I really love you all. And until next week, I will be back. And if you'd like to always breathe every week, go to globalunifedbreathing.com and just please send me a message. I'd like to know what you think. I'd like to know what you think about the program. I've been doing this now for about 4 months, and sometimes I consider that maybe I shouldn't be doing it. I should just kind of pivot to another direction. But I couldn't stop if I wanted to sometimes. It's just a part of life force energy. So I'd like to hear from you guys. Namaste, beloveds.